This demonstration shows the importance of proper installation technique for getting optimal coverage from Climate Pro blown-in insulation. We'll start with the JM recommended installation method and then show common errors and their overall effect on coverage. These errors include angling the hose down, cupping the hose opening, and using a smaller hose size. For each scenario, we will fill this boat, which is placed on a scale. It's angled at the end to avoid voids and empty spaces that would occur with a vertical wall at the front of the vessel. We will level off the product in these scenarios to get a constant volume and to show the most accurate weight and density. The heavier the weight, the lower the coverage. The scale will update in real time as the boat fills. One of the most important components of proper blown-in fiberglass technique is the hopper. Before beginning installation, you want to make sure your hopper is clean and clear of any debris, including plastic wrapping and tools. A larger hose diameter will allow the material to tumble across the hose ridges, opening the tufts of the product as it passes through. Continue to inspect your hose to ensure the ridges are rough. If the ridges are smooth, it's time to flip your hose. We recommend flipping or replacing your hose every 6 months. To start, the installer should hold the hose under one arm, with the other hand on the top part of the hose to help guide it. Do not cover the hose opening. Angle the hose horizontally. Set the air level on your hopper to full out and add 1 bag of Climate Pro at a time. This helps maximize coverage. Adjust the air to get a 10 to 12 foot material trajectory. Add the next bag of Climate Pro once you have half a bag or less remaining in the hopper. As you can see, the product has a large spread as it is blown, and there is a strong trajectory, covering a large area at once. Installing blow-in fiberglass using this method will offer the lowest weight and therefore the most coverage. The next few scenarios will highlight some common installation mistakes and how these variations can impact your final results. This next scenario will demonstrate the importance of hose positioning when installing the product. We will repeat the JM recommended install method, but with the common mistake of angling the hose downward. This mistake typically occurs when an installer is angling for placement. Angling the hose downward causes the material to compress as it hits the attic floorboards, decreasing the overall coverage of the product. The proper technique is to steadily move backwards or reposition yourself in the attic while keeping the hose horizontal. As you can see, there is an increase in overall weight, which means less total coverage. This issue can be avoided by holding the hose horizontally and allowing the product to fall freely from the hose opening. This next scenario shows the JM recommended technique, but includes a mistake that we often see in the field: cupping. Cupping is when the installer places their hand over the end of the hose to help direct the product. The product becomes compacted as it impacts against the installer's hand. When cupping occurs, the overall weight is higher, which means lower total coverage. As with the downward angle scenario, the proper technique is to move backwards or reposition yourself in the attic to provide a continuous fill with a horizontal hose. As you can see, there is an increase in overall weight, which means less total coverage. This next scenario shows the importance of using the specified hose diameter. We will conduct the install using the JM recommended process, but with a 3-inch Mark II hose. We dialed back the air pressure to maintain a controllable 10 to 12 foot trajectory. Reduced air, combined with a smaller diameter hose, is less conducive to the opening of the tufts of the product. Overall, this scenario produced about 15% less coverage. In this final scenario, we'll show the opposite of our recommended install method. We will use a 3-inch hose held at a downward angle. The installer will be cupping the hose. This combination of mistakes is altering the effectiveness of the install. As expected, this is the most drastic difference that we've seen. Minor errors can cause dramatic impacts. Always use the JM recommended technique to get the best results. For more information on blow-in fiberglass or additional best practices, visit jm.com.